Today, we're not just going to talk about money or the stock market. Nope. We're cracking open a toolkit for thinking, a seriously powerful way to see the world around you. We are talking about microeconomics.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. What on earth could possibly connect your Netflix subscription, the price you pay at the pump, and a life-changing decision like going to college? I mean, they seem completely random, right? Well, the answer is that they are all, at their very core, economic problems. And by the end of this, you'll have the tools to see exactly why.
So first things first, we got to reframe what economics actually is. It's really not about memorizing a bunch of charts and graphs. It's much, much more about building a new way of thinking. You know, one of the most brilliant economists ever, John Maynard Keynes, he just nailed it. He called economics an apparatus of the mind. In other words, it's a mental toolkit. It helps you break down the choices people make. It's not some rigid rule book that tells you what to believe.
The whole field of economics, really, it all boils down to one single fundamental problem: scarcity. We all want more than we can have, right? More time, more money, more, well, everything. But we live in a world where there's only so much to go around. And that one simple, unavoidable fact forces all of us to make choices. And here's the kicker. Because we have to choose one thing over another, every single decision we make has a cost attached. But it's almost never the cost you see on the price tag. And that hidden cost, it has a name, and it is probably one of the most powerful tools in the entire economic toolkit. It's called opportunity cost. It means the real cost of doing something isn't just the money you spend, it's the value of the next best thing you gave up. It is, quite literally, the road not taken.
Let's make this real with a huge decision: college. Now, sure, tuition is crazy expensive, we all know that. But the biggest cost of getting that degree isn't the tuition. It's the 4 years of salary you didn't earn while you were in class. That is a massive opportunity cost. But flip it around. The opportunity cost of jumping straight into the workforce is the nearly 70% pay bump you're giving up down the line by not getting that degree. See, every single choice is a trade-off.
All right, so now that we get this whole reality of choice, let's look at the main thing that guides all those choices in a market: price. And as it turns out, price is decided by two incredibly powerful forces working together.
The economist Alfred Marshall came up with this brilliant analogy. He said asking if supply or demand sets the price is like asking which blade of a pair of scissors actually does the cutting. The answer, of course, is that it's pointless to ask. You need both. They have to work together to get the job done.
And this beautiful little dance between buyers and sellers, between what's available and what people want, that's what Adam Smith famously called the invisible hand. It's this idea that when we all just act in our own self-interest, we're often led, as if by some invisible force, to make society as a whole better off, even when that wasn't our intention at all.
And this chart shows you exactly how that invisible hand works. Just look, if the price is super low, like $1, tons of people want to buy, but almost no one wants to sell. You get a shortage. If the price is way too high, say $5, sellers are ecstatic, but buyers are like, no way. You get a huge surplus of stuff just sitting there. So the market naturally, automatically pushes the price toward that sweet spot in the middle, $3, where the number of people who want to buy perfectly matches the number of people who want to sell. No shortage, no surplus. That's equilibrium.
Now that invisible hand is an amazing, powerful idea. But what happens when it fumbles? What happens when everyone chasing their own self-interest doesn't actually lead to the best thing for society?
And that is the critical question, isn't it? Is the free market always perfect? Well, the short answer is nope, not even close. Sometimes the market just completely misses the mark.
Economists have a name for these situations: market failures. It's basically when that price system we just looked at doesn't capture all the real costs or benefits, and that leads to a result that's inefficient or unfair or both.
So a textbook example of this is something called a negative externality. It sounds kind of technical, but all it means is a hidden social cost. Think about it. When a factory pollutes a river, it's imposing a cost, dirty water, on everybody downstream. But that cost is nowhere to be found in the price of what the factory makes. The market has failed to account for the full social cost of what's being produced.
The whole debate over the Keystone XL pipeline was a perfect real-world example of this. It was a massive battle over externalities. On one side, you had the economic benefits for the companies and workers, jobs and oil. On the other side, you had these huge potential public costs, environmental damage, and the risk of polluting a major source of fresh water. That is the very definition of a market failure conflict.
And here's another way the market can fail.
when competition just dies. If you have a monopoly, one company has all the power. And without any rivals to keep them in check, what's to stop them from jacking up prices, letting quality slide, and having zero reason to innovate? The invisible hand can't really do its job if there's only one firm to guide.
So, if the market messes up sometimes, what can we do about it? Well, this brings us to the next level of our economic toolkit, the advanced tools designed to try and fix these flaws.
To deal with monopolies, governments use what are called antitrust laws. So when two huge companies decide they want to merge into one giant company, regulators like the FTC and the DOJ, they step in to act as referees. They can approve it, they can block it completely, or they can do something in the middle. They can say, okay, you can merge, but you have to sell off this part of your business to make sure there's still some competition left.
But, and this is a really big but, having the government step in isn't some kind of magic fix. There's a huge risk of something called regulatory capture. This is when the government agency that's supposed to be policing an industry actually gets taken over, in a way, by the very industry it's supposed to be watching, and it starts making rules that help the companies instead of the public.
In this right here, this is the fundamental tension at the heart of so many debates. On one side, you have market failure, where the invisible hand stumbles. On the other side, you have government failure, where the helping hand gets captured and starts working for the wrong team. The real work of economics isn't about picking a side. It's about understanding this constant, difficult trade-off between imperfect markets and imperfect government solutions.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Economics almost never gives you easy black and white answers, because they usually don't exist. What it does give you is a toolkit. It gives you these incredible concepts like scarcity, opportunity cost, supply and demand, and market failure. These are the tools that let you cut through all the noise and really analyze the choices and trade-offs that shape our entire world. So the only question left is, how are you going to use them?